Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be secrets of people watching. Well, I've got an email here from a guy who, I guess he's about halfway through reading my book, and he's been watching my videos for a few months. And he said after watching my videos, because initially he came to me, he's thinking, this fucking guy in the internet, YouTube videos, there's no way that this shit can be legitimate. But he kept watching, and he started noticing things. He started noticing the things that I talked about in my videos when he would watch other men and women interact with one another. And over time, that's what gave him the confidence to say, you know what, this fucking shaved-headed bastard with freckles all over his face, he really knows what he's fucking talking about. Let me go ahead and buy that book because, you know what, I'm learning such great stuff for free in his videos. Just imagine how much great knowledge there's got to be in the fucking book. And for those of you that don't want to spend the money to buy the Kindle edition, you can read it for free on my website by simply subscribing to the newsletter. And then you could judge for yourself. And so what I liked about his email is he just notices some of the things that I talk about in the book. Watching men and women interact, watching guys hit on women, and the women are looking around the room basically looking for somebody to save them. And he notices that instead of being engaged in conversation with these particular guys they're talking to, that they're looking over at him, checking him out. And what's cool about the stuff that I teach is even if you're nervous or you're fearful or you're a little shy or you're not sure whether this stuff will work for you, it's just learning the knowledge that's in my book and then just people watching. You can people watch for days, weeks, or even months if you want to before you actually start interacting with other people. It really depends on your level of confidence. The idea is that being successful in life really is like a game of golf. You're only playing yourself. And so if you want to take your time, because everybody's at a different place. There's people that come to my work, they're in sales, they're already really successful. They can read the book a few times and just instantly incorporate it to not only help them in their personal life, but to give them an edge when it comes to business negotiation. Because it's a really powerful thing, especially like when you watch other guys, especially guys that typically come off as being strong, confident, and then you watch what happens when a beautiful woman walks in the room and how they all start falling all over themselves. Now this could be somebody that maybe you're doing a job interview with and he's got a hot secretary that works for him and she walks into his office. You can just watch his body language and his physiology shift and go from alpha to beta when an attractive woman walks into his office. If you're in a sales negotiation and you see that, maybe there's some pretty women in the room in a business negotiation, and you notice this physiology. You could take on the physiology that I describe in my book and also the video that I did several years ago called Body Language That Attracts Women, and then give you a superior alpha male physiology. And if you just know the basic things that are in my book about asking questions and getting other people to talk, you can actually take over the negotiation and start leading it by simply asking questions and creating rapport, and then you become the leader. And people are just going to be completely unconscious that that has happened. And you can lead them to where you want to go and get the best deal for yourself. And especially if you're out and maybe you feel like, oh, I'm not that good looking or I don't really have a lot to offer, but you exhibit the body language and you just start watching other people. You'll see people that are way better looking than you are. They got nicer clothes, nicer hairstyles, but when you watch them interacting with other women, they just have absolutely no clue. That is powerful when you see that. That builds your confidence. It's like the Matrix. It's like unplugging from the Matrix and saying, holy shit, now I see. It's like there was a part in the original Star Wars movie where Luke is learning to use a lightsaber, and he's got this little robotic thing that looks like a globe, and it kind of zaps him with like electricity or whatever. And he gets done, he takes the blast shield off, the helmet that he's wearing, and he's like, I kind of felt something. There was something there. And Obi-Wan Kenobi is like, that's great. You've taken your first step into a larger world. And that's kind of like what it is. It's because when I started learning the things that now are that I don't even have to think about, but when I started seeing this stuff and noticing it, that skyrocketed my confidence because I was able to see things that 99.9% of the other people that you're going to encounter in life aren't going to see. And that's one of the reasons why my book is titled 3% Man, because the things I teach in my book, most men and women just simply do not know them. And it's going to be it's going to take a lot of years before this stuff becomes common knowledge. And before that happens, you can clean up. You really, literally will see that I don't have any competition out there. And that it was one of the things that enables you to get women that you may presently perceive as being out of your league. Or get that job that you might think that you're not really that qualified for, you don't have enough experience for, but the way you carry yourself in a job interview with the confidence that you exude, they'll take a chance on you versus somebody else just because you simply know how to create rapport by asking questions. And in any interaction with human beings, whoever is asking questions is the one that is in charge of the conversation. They're the ones that are leading it. And most people are followers. 60% of the people that you're going to encounter in life, they have a herd mentality. They're not going to do anything until they see everybody else doing it. And it's really powerful. I mean, right off the bat, that eliminates 60% of your competition right there, the fact that most people are followers. And you start applying this stuff that's in my book and I talk about in my videos. I mean, you could literally read the book one time or just watching the video that I did, Body Language That Attracts Women, and reading the article, How to Get Women to Approach You First. You can spend 10, 15 minutes watching that, and you can go out and hang out with your buddies, and you can have women coming up to you and approaching you all fucking night long. And that in of itself, before you've even read the book, that starts to build your confidence. So I have a quote that I wrote on this topic, and then we're going to go through his email. And the quote says, "What is the difference that makes the difference between someone who reaches and lives their full potential and someone who settles for a life that is less than what they are capable of living?" Knowledge. In other words, successful people have knowledge that most others don't. Your success in life is directly proportional to what you learn and the value you add by applying it. To become a person of value and reach your full potential, you must be willing to seek out, learn, and apply uncommon and specialized knowledge that you have a passion for. The more value you can add by applying what you know, the higher your income earning potential will be. Even if you're working at a job making 10 or 15 bucks an hour, say you're flipping burgers for a living or you're working at Walmart. I mean, quite frankly, those kinds of jobs are really entry-level jobs. The kind of jobs that you can get experience, earn some money, get good with interacting with customers and other people, maybe while you're going to school, or maybe it's just a placeholder job until you find something better. When I hear politicians all the time talking about raising the minimum wage and this, that doesn't do shit to fucking help people. It doesn't do anything to make people self-reliant. Because then people have the attitude of, oh, I'm getting an unfair deal and I need somebody to legislate into existence a pay raise for myself. But what people really should be focusing on is how can I add more value? The only reason you should be looking at working at Walmart as a career or McDonald's flipping burgers for a living is if you love the food service industry or you want to maybe be a franchisee someday. Or if you're going to go to work at Walmart, that you want to work your way up, become a manager, then maybe work in the regional, or maybe go work for the home office someday. But looking at jobs like any job that pays 10 or 15 bucks an hour is the kind of job that you should only look at as that's a temporary type of job to get your foot in the door, to get some experience. And on the side while you're working those kinds of jobs, you should be learning knowledge that you have a passion for. You should be studying things that are really emotionally compelling, that you're curious about, that you're really interested in. And if you don't know what you want to do or what you're curious about, learn about things that are of interest to you or that seem appealing to you and try them out. And when something that you thought would be cool and interesting turns out to be boring, then try something else. The idea is to immerse yourself in things and study things that are foreign to you that you think may appeal to you. You got to start somewhere. You got to move towards the things that you want in life. And therefore, when you acquire knowledge that most people don't know, you can apply and earn your true earning potential. I want to read this again. To become a person of value and reach your full potential, you must be willing to seek out, learn, and apply uncommon and specialized knowledge that you have a passion for. The more value you can add by applying what you know, the higher your income earning potential will be. It's like what I do for a living. I'm giving out very specialized knowledge that 99.99999% of the people on this planet don't know. That's why I charge what I charge, and that's why my book does so well, is because of the value that I add. It's not because I'm a fucking genius or anything. People say all the time how smart I am. It's like, well, what is being smart? It's really just acquiring knowledge. Well, how did I acquire that? I've always been a thinker in my life, and in my spare time, instead of checking out and watching bullshit, stupid sitcoms, I'm reading books, or I'm on websites learning about things that I'm curious about, that I'm interested in, that I have a passion for. And then therefore someone like you who's watching this video can come and spend a few minutes a day learning things that I basically spent my whole lifetime learning. And not only do you get the benefit of my own personal life experience, but you get the benefit of the thousands of authors and successful people that I've studied throughout my life, and I've learned the best of what they've learned. And so you're gaining thousands of years of the best knowledge that has existed just by watching and learning a few things from me and applying it. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is only potential power. It only becomes power when you actually get out there and apply it. That's all I've done my whole life since I was a teenager. I looked at the world, I was like, why are things this way? Why am I struggling so much in school? Why are these people so successful and wealthy versus other people who seem to be really smart, but yet they never come even close to reaching their full potential? Success has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with your intelligence. It has everything to do with what you do with your time. And when you have time and you learn things that you're curious about, that you're interested, the more time you spend studying, the more value potentially that you can learn. It's like somebody that decides they work on cars for a living, and they just love cars. They love tinkering with things. And then maybe they go to a school where they learn to work on really specialized cars, maybe race cars or something like that. You got somebody that fixes everyday cars, earns a certain amount of money, but you got somebody that maybe works on Indy cars or stock cars, or they build engines, or they design engines, or they become an engineer. That's what happens. It's like those people, they didn't just stop at tinkering with average cars. They wanted to learn the best stuff because they really loved it. They really had a passion for it. And that's why people that work for race teams or Winston Cup racing, or as they call it, NASCAR, it's called Winston Cup when I was growing up, or IndyCar racing, or anything that's specialized. It's like because they really loved and had a passion for the industry, they were always trying to take their skills to the next level. It's like me personally, I haven't stopped learning. Every spare moment when I'm not out having fun or enjoying my life, I'm reading, I'm learning about things. And most people say, well, that's a waste of your time. Like, no, I'm learning things that most people don't know. And therefore, that's why I can do these videos and share the things, and why my clients get such great results, and why people have such great comments on my YouTube channel. And that's why my book gets such great reviews. It's simply because of the value that I add. And if you can take that same kind of philosophy, and every waking minute of yours is spent acquiring knowledge and skills and practicing the knowledge that you've learned and developing those skills through time and repetition, it's like what Maya Angelou said. Don't focus on making money. Focus on something that you really have a passion for and become so good at it that people can't take their eyes off of you. That, in essence, is what I've done. If you want to sum up what I've done in my whole life, I've studied things that most people are just too lazy or I don't have the time to do. I learn it, I go out and apply it, I get the results, and I'm constantly refining that approach and trying to get better. So let's go through his email. He says, hey Corey, what's up, man? I've been following your work now for about 4 months, just listening to some of your videos, at least 2 or 3 a day, old and new. I've only read a few chapters in your book, haha, and hopefully you don't click out of the email after seeing that. Well, after 4 months, dude, I mean, at least you started on the book. Maybe you were a little slow, but I mean, everybody's different, and maybe you're really skeptical at first, and that's fine. The point being is that you kept coming back, you kept watching videos 2 to 3 a day, because you realize that you're learning things from me that you're not learning very everywhere else. It's the stuff that I teach is uncommon knowledge, uncommon common knowledge, if you will. Your YouTube videos basically drove me to buy your book, and now every day I make a commitment to learning your work. That's what it takes. And that's the difference between the fact that you can be successful more and more as the older you get versus all the people that you know in your life that aren't taking the time to read these things. Because most people, they'll go, oh, I don't have the time to read a book. Oh, I don't have the time to go to that YouTube channel. I don't have the time to fix my relationship. But they always seem to find time for the divorce attorney. The reason I'm writing you this email is not necessarily anything going on with me, but what I see at bars, nightclub events, concerts, most relationships, etc. Your work opened me up to seeing the truth in how women think and why most men will never understand them. I felt like an asshole listening to some YouTube guy. Then your work started to appear all over my life. Yeah, you're watching videos here and there, and you're picking up little things there, and then you're just walking around the grocery store, and you see a guy maybe flirting with the girl who's checking him out, and you can go, that guy's got no game. You can listen to his self-talk or the things that he says, and he doesn't have a high opinion of himself. And then when he flames out and gets rejected, you just go, it's just like Corey talked about in the video. When you see that, that builds your confidence. Even if it takes you 2 or 3 months before you start talking to the first woman and applying the things that you're learning. You can watch everything that I talk about, and everything that I say is the way it is. You can see it in your own life. You can see it in your own world. And when you watch other people flame out around you, and you know what works, and then you see the signs, a woman playing with her hair, touching your arm, laughing at all your jokes, asking for your name back when you don't volunteer it, when you ask her what her name, just those little things like that. I mean, like today, I was coming up after the gym. I was talking to one of my neighbors. I'd never met her before. I was chatting with her, and I don't even think about this stuff. I just do it instinctually. And I asked this girl what her name was, and she told me. And we talked for a bit, and then she's like, and what is yours? She asked me what my name was. And then as I was walking out the elevator, I was dripping wet. I just run 3 miles. And I turned back around to say goodbye to her, and I busted her checking out my fucking ass. It's like, it's pretty obvious. Didn't take long to see that she was interested. I mean, I had maybe 15, 20 seconds in an elevator with her. And so if I'd been interested in her and wanted to go out with her, I mean, it'd been pretty easy to know that I'm not going to get rejected in that situation. Because if she had a boyfriend, she's not going to be checking out my ass unless she has no integrity, obviously. But the fact that she asked for my name when I didn't volunteer it, just 2 little things like that, boom. And how many times have you or somebody you know gotten into an elevator or just been walking around, saw somebody in a grocery store, and thought, wow, I really like that person. Are they into me? How can I tell? 2 little things. What is she doing? Is she asking for the name? Is she enthusiastically talking? Is she playing with her hair? Just little things like that. You know right away you're not going to get rejected. And most, 99.99%, if you're a guy, of the other guys that you're going to encounter, they don't know that stuff. He says, I've always had a girl or two and was in one long-term relationship. The relationship threw me off for a year or so until your work came into my life. Yeah, when you have a failure, you start doubting yourself. And it's like most people, they come to my work not because things are going great in their life, but because things aren't going well. In this case, you've been out of a relationship for a year, and you start to doubt yourself. You start saying, oh, there's something wrong with me. Not necessarily. It's just your strategy sucked. And now you're filling in your knowledge gap. And so you can apply the proper strategy. What I mean by that is I now see that by being weak and always giving in or chasing women, it will never give you true happiness. But all these guys do is chase the women, haha. I swear, I walk into a bar now and I see dudes drooling on girls, giving them all the attention in the world, and the same girl is looking at me. When you have the body language, the physiology that I talk about in the video that I did several years ago called Body Language That Attracts Women, just watching that 10, 12-minute long video. That gives you a leg up over everybody else that you're going to encounter. Most people don't know that. And not only can that help you with members of the opposite sex, but that can really help you when you're negotiating a deal on a car, or to buy a house, or to get a mortgage. When you can read other people's body language and physiology, when you can tell people that when people don't believe in themselves, they're not really certain of what they're saying, you can see right through the bullshit. It's like a game of poker, being able to read other people's body language. That's why those guys wear sunglasses and stuff. I coach a lot of people that are professional poker players. And the stuff that they learn from me gives them an edge. One little tell, and that's the difference between making millions of dollars in a major poker tournament and losing your ass. I don't understand where we as men went wrong. Where do we start to fall off? Well, I mean, when you look forward, I'd say the feminist movement had a big part of it. And the feminist movement was really a great thing when it started out, giving women rights to vote and all those things. But it's like, I look at TV now, and it's like, I was watching some of the football games that are on this past week, and it's like these commercials, it's like all the actors, it's like the men, they look like fucking women. The way they dress, the way they walk, the way they carry themselves. It's like when you just see that shit over and over and over and over again, and you don't have a good archetype, you don't have a good alpha male role model in your life to follow if you're a guy, and you don't have a good alpha female role if you're a woman to watch, it totally screws up the sexual polarity between men and women. He says social media has blown some of these girls' heads way up, way too much, man, and all these guys chasing them nonstop has made the guys harder for real guys like us to see it. I don't agree with that statement at all. That's complete nonsense. Because now you have a leg up. You have a different way to look at the world. And the fact that all these guys are drooling all over women have to be really quick at getting rid of guys that just have no clue. And so you're minding your own business. You're just out having a good time, and you look around and you make eye contact with a woman and you don't look away. And you can tell that she's not engaged with the other guy. And if the other guy's way better looking and way better shaped than you, but she's checking you out because you're giving off alpha male body language and confidence just with the look in your eyes, and you can see that this other guy has no clue, you can wave her on over. Or if she's like looking at you like that says save me, you can walk over and just take her hand and say, hey, this is my sister. I gotta give me a few minutes here. And you just take her away from him. Something simple like that, because it's his sister. As opposed to him going, hey, I was talking to her first, like, hey, this is my cousin, or hey, this is my sister. I got to tell her something real quick. This is something and then she'll be like, oh, thanks. And then you can pull her away to a different corner and just start talking with her and go on and on and on and on. And if the dude comes over, it's like, hey, this is some family stuff, or if you just give us a few minutes, dude, I appreciate it. And then I'm like, oh, no problem, man. He's like, yeah, our uncle just had a heart attack. And it's like, this is family stuff. And you just make up some shit. And they're like, just give us about 5 minutes. And then you can talk for a few minutes. Say, hey, let's get out of here and go across the street. Go to someplace different. She's like, oh, sure, thanks. All we can do is sit back, be ourselves, and continue to chase our dreams and reach our goals. That's all you need to focus on. That's what you were focusing on. These women are noticing you. But it doesn't sound like you're taking advantage of those situations. But just the fact that the veil is being removed from your eyes, it's like the fog is starting to go away. And you're like, now I can see the world for what it is. It's like that moment in the Matrix movie where Neo is fighting Agent Smith in the subway, and he's like, you hear that, Mr. Anderson? That is the sound of inevitability. Because he's sitting there holding Neo, and he's going to wait for the train to run over and kill Neo. And when you die in the Matrix, you die in the real world. And Neo just gets this look on his face. He's like, fuck this. And he starts to believe. And once he believes in himself, when he becomes certain of his own abilities and his own skills, he's able to jump out of the way at the last second, and then Agent Smith gets run over, and Neo takes off, and he gets out of the Matrix safely. He said, I want to thank you for exposing people's mind to the truth and success with women and in your life. I'm one of the people who never wanted to say I needed to change or needed to read a book about relationships, but you changed that in me, and I couldn't be happier as a result. Well, whether you realize it or not, dude, you realize that your approach was not working, and you were seeking knowledge. You were seeking the difference that makes a difference, and you found it. And now you're starting to apply it, even though you haven't done a whole heck of a lot, because there's a lot of other people, a lot of guys and girls out there in the same boat as you are, and they're starting to see, they're starting to believe, they're starting to realize what's going on in the world around them. And your confidence is growing little by little, inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter. The idea is to just try to get a little better each day. I'm going to continue to read the book, and I have a ton of shit going on, but no excuses. I'll get it done. That's the right attitude. The only question I have for you is, how do I take all that I've been learning and I'm going to learn and make myself feel more confident? Well, the more that you observe these things, the more that's going to build your confidence. But what you really need to start doing is applying things. Watch the video that I did called Improving Your Social Skills. It's one of the essential fundamentals on the home page of my YouTube channel. That video is only, I think, about 12 minutes long. Watch that video a couple times and then just start applying it. Just the simple conversation tips that I have in there about eye contact and asking people's names. Just little simple, just like I was talking about earlier about the neighbor of mine, the cute girl that I met in the elevator. I mean, I talked to her for 15, 20 seconds. I could tell she liked me, and if I wanted to go out with her, I could have easily asked her out, and I'm 100% certain she'd have said yes. It's that simple. And when you know you're not going to get rejected, it's like, think about what that does for your confidence. It's like almost being intuitive. It's just having knowledge and knowing what to look for, and most people just simply don't know what to look for. I'm good looking, I always dress nice, and as bad as this is, I always have some girl with me or wanting me. I'm saying bad because I kind of want a relationship, but my confidence to be in a relationship again is kind of shot. I wouldn't say your confidence is shot, because at the end of the day, what is confidence? Confidence is applying what you know how to do and doing it really well. It's taking the knowledge that you're learning and applying it. And it's just like I was talking about the girl in the elevator. It's like, I could see that without really even making much of an effort. I have one simple question of her, and that told me everything I needed to know. Plus the fact that I busted her checking out my ass as I was walking out the elevator, and the fact that she was enthusiastically interacting with me. She was smiling. When I was at the grocery store earlier today, I was chatting with a guy. I rode one of my electric scooters I have. I live downtown. And I was chatting with a girl that had a bike next to me. She wasn't really, her tone of her voice was flat. She was cute. She wasn't participating like the girl in the elevator was. I mean, that's the difference that makes a difference right there. It's like, so when you know that you can, when you're going to ask women out, that you can tell right away if they're going to say yes or no, I mean, that builds your confidence. But again, you got to get through the book, and you have to start applying these things. It's just time and repetition, dude. You will get there. You're already on your way. And you're doing great so far. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.